Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. This is my third visit to this event, and last time I was here, Andy Wilson, you can recognise him by his dog, there he is over there, his poodle. Is it a poodle? Okay, one of those. Anyway, so we met and we had dinner, and I spoke about some of the things that I've been doing in my life as an entrepreneur, running businesses, technology, etc. And I thought it might be interesting for you today, not knowing your backgrounds or industries, to share with you some of the things that I've been doing in my life and how technology helps entrepreneurs, designers, engineers, you name it, any industry, to get their products to market quickly and beat the competition. So I put together here a very visual and in some respects quite loud, as in audible, presentation for you. We'll start. And again, I don't know what industries you're from, but this was the theme of the presentation, speed to market. Anyone that's been in development or design or manufacturing, merchandising knows the quicker you get your product to the shelves, online, ahead of your competition, the more likely it is that your product will be successful and you'll make money. So speed to market utilizing digital technologies. So when I started my life, we were designing, engineering, and producing vehicles. I'm an ex-BMW guy from Germany, manually. It took many years, which I'll share in a second, to get that product to market. By which time, our rivals in Stuttgart from Mercedes-Benz brought out a bigger, faster, quicker car. So we would go back to the drawing board and restart again. It happened frequently. So we come up with this idea, if we can connect all of those things digitally, so if there's a change made in design, it automatically affects production tooling. If there's a change in tooling, it goes back and it changes the design. So it became an automated process. So we call this changing traditional approaches to product design and how you bring a product to market. So again, what does going digital mean? This is a quick snapshot of the company that I currently work for and some of the things we do. So what you're going to see here is all digitally produced for the fashion industry in New York. So that's the company RTT. That's the company that I was heading up here in Pasadena up until 3 months ago. That was sold to a French conglomerate. It's quite interesting to have an Englishman working for a French company in America. But here it is, Dassault Systèmes. Some of you may have heard of them. Many haven't. It's a huge company that no one's really heard of. They started life in the aerospace industry, and they make fighter planes for the French government. So 32 years ago, they thought, how can we, the Dassault family, make our fighter planes faster, quicker than our competition and get them to market? So they designed their own software tool, which they called Katia, named after one of the wives. So a scientific company, almost 14,000 people around the world, hundreds of clients in many industries, and this is a good point at this stage. So automotive, aerospace, we've now got fashion, retail, biosciences, automotive energy. What else we got? And there's many of them, there's 12. So we're taking our aerospace knowledge across multiple industries. So that's that one. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about traditional problems we have today when we bring product to market. And again, if this makes sense to you, or doesn't, please shout. So the first time you typically see your product is when it comes from a factory out of China, in most cases. And then you say, oh my goodness, that's not how I intended it to be. It's too big, it's too long, it's too heavy, it looks cheap, don't like it. You lose your start date and so on. So it's too late to program. So the other 2 points here. Wrong time of market, your competition beats you by 2 weeks. The product that sell is rejected in the market, it's not fashionable, to use that term. These are all typical things that happen in the traditional industry. Manufacturing costs are too high because it wasn't engineered correctly to start with. You have warranty and performance issues. You didn't consider global markets, so you're launching a product that goes global, but it doesn't sell in Asia or in Italy or France or Germany, for whatever reason. Wrong colour, wrong demographics, and so on. Missed the mark, too late with your marketing. This is a big thing about digital. You can market your product months before it ever leaves the factory. This is the whole purpose of going digital. Once you've designed your product using any form of computer-aided design tools, CAD form tools, we would take that data and make it look so visually compelling you wouldn't be able to tell the difference from real or fake. That's the whole purpose of connecting digital together. So, here's a couple of snapshots. I quickly cobbled these together this morning, so I thought it might be interesting. In 1985, when I was working at BMW, it took us 6 years from an idea to get the vehicle to production. 6 years. Now it takes between 36 and 24 months because we've gone digital. Aerospace is a quote this morning from the net that I took. In 1990, Boeing started thinking about the Dreamliner. That was 25 years ago. So it takes a long time. Footwear and fashion. Parker? Hello? Is this a fair quote? He's a footwear specialist.
It can be as high as 18 months, actually.
18 months, okay. So again, and here, high tech. You can see where I'm going. It can take a long time to get a product to market. So the quicker we do it, the better, and the quicker we gauge reactions, likewise. So here's a snapshot of the company that I now work for and what it is we do. Dassault Systémes is their navigation compass, and these are the industries we're addressing. The last and only sales pitch video I've got for you. But so why did I join this company, the 3D Experience platform? It fascinated me. It was about taking an idea three-dimensionally right the way through the entire development chain digitally. Gone are the tools, the sketches, the prototypes, and so on. So it's quite an interesting proposition they have, and it's set up from these three key elements. We all know about prototypes, how important they are. If you can create virtual prototypes, known today as 3D printing in many cases, you can create virtual engineering and create your virtual manufacturing scenarios. Lastly, how do I market the product? And more importantly over here, how do I socialize and how do I engage that product? Probably why Audi actually true as well, but also Apple has such a great success because the experience of buying that product is great. So it's called experience selling. So the first portion of this, virtual prototyping, these are images that were created using our high-end software. Here you've got Hugo Boss. So attention to detail is staggering. These go straight into advertising, marketing, billboards, the latest collection of shoes. This is one that my colleague down here, who's still on his phone, Parker, he created here for Vans shoes here in California. So again, these are prototypes. I know it's a Vans classic, we know what they look like, but just to try and gauge different colourways and samples. So these are called, it says at the bottom here, virtual sample. So when a salesman goes out with a suitcase full of shoes around the world, it costs a lot of money. Now they take 2 or 3 pairs of shoes and show the rest digitally on an iPad. So it's quite staggering the quality you can get. This is good enough to go straight to marketing, although that shoe doesn't even exist. So that's a quick snapshot for you. There's other ones here that I've got that are again, much the same thing. So multiple colourways. As many as you want, we can create them for you using our software and processes. High-end watches, so this is high-end jewellery from Switzerland. These are all virtual, these are not photographs, by the way. Same here. And this one's pretty cool. This is jewellery. Look how accurate, how compelling the visualization of this diamond is. This is called caustics. I think it's the term used, isn't it? Caustics. Where you've got reflections, refractions that are so good. So the light beam goes into that diamond, bounces around hundreds of times, creating that realism and that depth. You can't really capture this using traditional photography. So you've seen lots of high-end jewelers, Tiffany amongst others, going digital. So when they launch their products online, or when your wives or respective husbands want some jewellery, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be digitally created, is another one, a gem as we call it. So for those of you that have product that already exists, and it isn't in the digital form, which is a lot of people that have this situations, how do you recapture it and reuse it and make it digital? So I call this a material capturing and reverse engineering, an old term. So the company, this is the company I wanted to share with actually, 3D Excite, based here in Pasadena. This was the company I was previously running, known as Real-Time Technology. The French bought it and changed the name just to confuse people. So it's now called 3D Excite. They capture materials from any industry in this black box. It could be leather, snakeskin, it could be curved materials, it could be something that a designer happens to find whilst he or she's traveling the world. But how do we get it into the CAD file, into the digital world? So here it's scanned at an extremely high level of quality. This technology originates from Hollywood, from the Avatar world, where you can scan, in this particular case, crocodile skin. You can capture it, you can change the depth, the look, the feel manually if you wish, or you can leave it in its original form. That's how cool this looks. And that's now projected straight onto a pair of shoes, or a lady's handbag, or a garment of some sort. I think I'll probably fast forward this. Sorry, there's on the shoe now. So that's how quickly. Now you can look at reflections, what would it look like in certain environments. So that's material capturing, and then from that, we would then create what I call these digital shaders, which look like this. Some of you may know this as speed shapes that come from the industry, the automotive. So this is a typical form that represents every type of surface you might have in your product. It could be taut, it could be loose, it could be hanging like cloth, or stretched across a surface like an instrument panel from a car. So we create thousands and thousands of these and share them with our clients, who then put them onto their products. So here, material and human scanning. So this, we've got lots of names for this guy: Ben Affleck, Hugo Boss, Helmut Muller. Anyway, he was created in Germany, which is why it looks so Germanic. And here we've got all types of different materials projected onto that avatar. So these are done literally in minutes, not hours or weeks. So we took the hairs off his chest because it was deemed offensive, by the way, in America. So here he is. So this is how now early designers are looking at colour combinations or collections, if you like. And here's the reverse engineering example I wanted to share with you. So one of our clients in New York, you might recognise the brand in a minute, they had a very high-selling shoe that was at the end of its life cycle, but they wanted to, for want of a better word, sex it up, sell more of them. So we scanned these shoes using scanning technology. Each particular element, as you see here, which was going to be later colour coordinated, we separated into a file, put it back together, went back to our materials library, and projected onto our scan wireframe. It looks like this, different colours. So we changed some, we came up with some quite unique ideas for this particular brand. And this happens in days, probably hours in fact, not even days. At the end of the process, we went back and said, look, we've even created for you over the weekend an advertising campaign that we think there's a market you've not tapped into, namely the high-end vehicle noise, the Ferraris, the Ducatis, even the Porsches. So here you can figure your own shoe online or in the store. This is the Bentley version that I created, the Goodwood. And there was I think we jumped through 3 or 4 there for some reason. There was a Ferrari and then a Ducati as well. So really cool personalisation, which allowed that particular brand to sell what was a dead shoe or a dead product and bring it back to life. Much the same here with New Balance. So same thing. This is an Audi BMW style in-store configurator. You walk up there and you configure your New Balance sports shoe to suit your taste, your needs, your requirements. And the combinations is, what is it, Parker? How many quadrillion?
40 quadrillion possible combinations, just on one shoe.
40 quadrillion. So the like of someone else having that shoe you configured is pretty unlikely. This is a quick video of the New Balance the Foot Locker store. Imagine this. This is a pillar, empty space, can't use it, can't build any shelves around it. So we created a really cool double screen, touch screen configurator that consisted of materials for that tactile engagement. Here are the materials. There's the imagery that we created. This was all done, by the way, here in Pasadena. Then we educated the staff on how to sell digital. It's a whole different process. Highly profitable. Once you've configured your shoe, it prints out, that printer, it goes straight to your Facebook web account, and you've now got, I don't have that many people in mind, but 300 people say, oh, Stephen bought a cool pair of shoes in New York at the Foot Locker stand. It goes viral, so it becomes that third portion of digital marketing. Let me jump into a different industry. This is where my heart used to lie, it's not anymore so much, is automotive. So in the world of automotive, it's extremely complex. You've got global demand, you're selling that, in this particular case, golf, all over the world. And believe me, every country has different expectations. So we went into the world of digital clinics, where we would create full-size screens, so basically the size of this entire wall, and view full-size digital vehicles around the world to gauge global variation and reactions.
Shipping product prototypes around the world for physical product clinics is expensive, as it implies high logistics and insurance costs. There is clearly a need for a digital tool to evaluate and validate complex variant decisions in lifelike quality. Our solution? The Visual Product Clinic shows all possible car configurations prepared in Deltagen for high-end design reviews in the early stages. The large projection on power walls or in immersive caves provides a photorealistic and one-to-one scale product representation. Like this, specific key design features can be thoroughly inspected and validated. With this setup, 3 cars at a time can be configured simultaneously and in real time. And we also thought about ease of navigation. Users interact with the models via remote control with Deltagen Explore. That makes it intuitive to operate by both management and reviews, as well as by target customers during assessment sessions. Our Visual Product Clinic accelerates the decision-making process with lifelike visualizations and cuts operating costs.
I'm going to stop Helmut there at that stage, because he goes on a bit. But so now we've got through that phase. He mentioned the word immersive. You know what that means? Immersive. It's when basically, you know, the Oculus Rift. That's an immersive feeling on your head. These caves are full size, so it's basically 3 slides. Sometimes in the roof, you walk in there, you think you're actually in space. It's quite interesting. So we now take that to the next level. Now you've got virtual test drives. This is something that BMW started when I was there in 1990. This is how long this has been around. So it's taking what's called like they call it a box, a German word. That's the word "gogi" in German. You sit in this thing and it represents the shape and feel of the vehicle, the reach studies and so on. And these are what you're seeing through your Oculus Rift glasses or through the screen. So here we've created different types of cities and environments around the world. I think this one was in Italy, if not mistaken. So you could try and drive that vehicle through your Italian streets. It's quite difficult, by the way. I've tried it. This guy's not really good at parking, as you'll see in a second, because he's Italian. There you go. Boom. Boom. So that wasn't a very successful park. But you can see the things you can do virtually. That would have cost hundreds of thousands of euros had they created that car physically to test it, and it wouldn't have looked very good. Anyways, there we go. So there's that. Here's another one. So now we're into give the helmet quickly. There he goes. So here's the next stage. We're still going now towards market research. So this is now putting that digital vehicle that hasn't been built yet onto a virtual road or a virtual city anywhere in the world, which you'll see in a second, to gauge reactions to the potential buyers or objectors. Here you could go about configuring that vehicle to suit your needs. You can even choose the ethnic race of the driver you want to have in that vehicle. Here the backdrops, the environments as they're called, from all over the world. You throw those in there, you press the render button, and it creates scenes like this. So again, these are very, very early marketing images, if you like, used by the marketing departments to gauge reactions. How could they go about selling that vehicle? What angles? They would agree on the views with the design team to make sure they've got the design emotions across. This is a future city, by the way, so a neutral branded city, which is also important sometimes. So I think you get the gist of it. This is done with vehicles, with watches, jewellery, clothing, airlines. It's pretty impressive. So the last portion of my sort of presentation to round up was how do you take all that and create really cool marketing or engagement? So have we got any automotive people here today other than myself? Anyone else interested in automotive? Just one. Well, I'm going to go through this real quick. So here's a problem. When you build a product or a vehicle, it has to be crash tested, especially automotive vehicles, to very high standards. That's extremely expensive. So one of the first companies in the world was Audi, followed by Honda, that did virtual crash tests. And the results were so compelling that the North American Highway, NHTSA it's called, has accepted these crash tests as validation for real vehicle production. So I'm going to go past Eric. So Eric Dehoff, he's an engineer here at Honda. That's a real vehicle being crash test. That just costs $200,000.
Analyze many design aspects and gives you the opportunity to test many designs instead of just
We'll go past.
CA engineer,
We'll go past Eric.
model, representative,
We'll go past Eric.
commercial.
Eric, there he is. So here now
So
we're
Honda
creating
pioneering led this development with 3D Excite, and they're
this is that
developing
vehicle
real tech software. With this
simulated.
instead of just generating movies and images, we can actually
That's a visible
interactively
wall.
use it.
Now you can see what's
There's
really
a
happening
model
from
around.
there.
We can hide parts,
You can take this
isolate
whole panel
parts,
off.
whole systems, structures to really explain what is going on during the event. The ultimate purpose of this is to get the best image of vehicle performance before we build the car and test it. With this new technology, everybody understands what's going on much more clearly and efficiently because it looks so real.
So there you go. That, believe it or not, is cutting edge stuff. It was launched just last year and it was straight from that engineering development straight into the national advertising campaign for the Acura. So it's a pretty significant move actually in the automotive space. So marketing is something else as well for the truckers of the world. Have we got any truckers here? No truckers either.
The newly designed Detroit DD15 engine is engineered for enhanced performance
All
and
virtual,
efficiency.
all computer
Our
generated.
updated piston design reduces friction for improved fuel economy. The next generation ACRS fuel system provides higher injector pressure and optimized combustion control. The new fuel filter module simplifies serviceability. A variable speed water pump reduces load on the engine. And the streamlined design of the proven asymmetric turbocharger enhances performance. The DD15 engine has also achieved GHG14 compliance and certification. So if you demand better fuel economy, demand Detroit.
So who's going to go out and buy a Detroit engine now? So I'm going to skip through a couple of these because there's too many of these Detroit ones. Where have we gone? Where's my mouse gone? There it is. Anyway, you get the gist of where I'm going. So that's digital. Let's jump ahead to the last portion. So user interfaces. So we all know now that whoever owns a smart device and wants to buy something new, a pair of shoes, a handbag, a shirt, whatever, the first thing we grab is our smartphone. And we look at it, or our iPad, or a laptop, etc. And this is all about connecting. So what the companies are trying to do is to try and get a unique interface, a unique, if you like, connectivity. So we call that connecting the dots with the user. So if you're at home, that advertisement has the same appeal, the same charisma, the same, if you like, excitement, as if you're looking at it online or on your iPad, or if you're in a store configuring your vehicle. This happens now. This is the future, by the way, of automotive dealerships. There won't be cars with lots of vehicles on the lot. There'll be 2 or 3, and the rest are all going to be digital. And you're going to see lots of these things, pop-ups they're called, popping all over the place, digital engagement points for you to see a product. And this is another area that's really quite cool. This is called projection mapping. So you take a product in a store, in a mall, one physical product, this vehicle here, and you project onto that using high technology projectors, different versions, colours, wheels. The experience is quite unique.
The 3D Excite Interactive Design Studio was born out of an idea in 2012 to bridge the gap between the physical world and the digital experience. As an ongoing research project between 3D Excite, Christie Digital, and Ventus, we developed version 1 of the diorama. Version 2 that you see behind me accomplishes so much more. Built upon the feedback we received from industry professionals, we realized we needed to take this experience much further.
Oh, sorry, I cut him off. I apologise. If you like that, we can go back, but you get the point. You've got a physical model, it's a 5th scale vehicle in this case, and you project onto that all of the different imagery, colours, etc. you like to have, engage again reactions to the consumer. I'm going to wrap up now, basically do 2 things. This is a next technology, it's called augmented reality, and I have my iPad here somewhere. When you walk into a store now, you're only going to see maybe 1 or 2 pairs of shoes, or 1 handbag, or 1 vehicle. All the rest, all the inventory is available digitally. You'll pull out your smartphone, your iPad, you'll hold it to a marker. That marker could be anything. It could be that dot, the N, whatever trigger, it triggers the software, and then you can see all the variations that are in the inventory behind the store digitally. And it's pretty impressive, and you're going to see the word or the term augmented reality exploding in months and years to come. To summarise, for me at least anyway, I think, for us today here, this experience buying that I keep referencing for the future is about using 3D engagements technology. So to summarise the 3 points that I came up with a long time ago, we buy things based on our senses, our human senses. Here, sight, touch, sound, smell, taste. Sight accounts for 80% of our decision-making processes. So if we see something we like, typically we're going to buy it, unless it smells awful or tastes like crap, which you can't taste a car, can you? So the next one would be the technology. How does it work? Can I operate it? Is it intuitive? Can I pick it up and work with it straight away? Even though I lived in Germany for many years of my life, I still can't operate German navigation systems. I'll still use my iPhone. Just an example. So it needs to be intuitive and fun to use. And lastly, now I've bought my product, my Fiat 500 electric car, for argument's sake, I socialise it everywhere. I tell people about it. I love it. It goes viral. It's free advertising. So that pretty much concludes my presentation today. So creating the future, you read that for yourself. So, hope that wasn't too boring for you, and I covered most industries, although I didn't find anyone for the automotive world or the trucking industry here. It was a bit disappointing. But, anybody have any questions? And if so, I'll hand over the mic to Mike. Mike?
Take that. I'm going to give you this. We're going to get that working in just a second. So, great presentation. Thank you, Stephen. So we're going to do the Q&A here. I'm going to pass the mic to John. Raise your hand if you have a question. We'll pass the mic to you. Stand up, say your name, what your company is, and ask your question. Let's refrain from giving commentary, personal experiences, advice for the speaker. Let's keep it to Q&A, please. So here you go.
Hello, Mike. My name is Mike Williams, World Mentoring Academy. I have a question regarding, I see that you let users do the overlays, or not the overlays, but the layers. Have you developed an interface yet in your things to actually do designing in a simple way?
Yeah, if I can translate that question to, if I've understood it properly, yes, we've created different layers of user interface for our software for high-end, let's use the term, a fully professional photographer might have a Nikon camera that's got all the bells and whistles. You need to be a professional to use it. We have software that does that. We also have software, there's one called Bunk Speed that I referenced earlier, is exactly that. It's easy to use, quick, fast, and you're up and running in half an hour. Was that answering your question?
In other words, they actually did redesign a car.
The consumer can't redesign the car, no.
I just said, or a shoe or whatever.
They can configure the car. Once it's been designed, or the shoe's been designed, they can configure it themselves, their colour, materials, their choices. But they can't physically design or redesign the vehicle after it's been produced. They can influence it during the consumer clinic space up front before it goes to production. Yeah?
Okay.
Yes?
Hello, my name is Mo. I'm from Germany. I just moved here, so I don't have an industry. I was just thinking, if you want to have the consumers be able to change like the layovers on the graphics and so on, I imagine there's a lot of computational power necessary. Do you use cloud computing? How do you achieve that they can actually do that on their iPad? And then I was also wondering, can you use your 3D images for a 3D printer, or are the 3D printers not yet for there? I don't know.
Two excellent questions, by the way. So yes, the world's heading towards cloud computing, and it depends, in our case, on the end customer. Most of the automotive brands from Europe have gone towards cloud, so if you're ordering your BMW 3 Series at the BMW dealership, that data is stored in a cloud, and it's controlled from Munich. So if, for example, they're not selling, I don't know, an orange 3 Series with black wheels anymore because it's not deemed popular, they'll switch off the orange and you can't configure it, you can't control it. Same with New Balance. And Parker, you might want to shout to this, how would New Balance control the materials and the products they have within their factories to prevent someone ordering something they can't get?
Yeah, so that the whole system is tied to their inventory management system. So
I'll get you mine.
There we go. Hi, can you hear me a little better? So for New Balance, everything is connected to their inventory management systems, their back-end systems. So essentially, when you place an order, it's already checked in the beginning of the day, at least once a day. Do those materials still exist? And if they don't, they just get removed. Because the minute you basically place that order, it gets printed out. There's a little barcode that relates to your specific order, and that's how they track it through the entire process. And for New Balance, they're made in 10 days because they're made in the States, which is another advantage they had for their process.
That's the first question. Second question, 3D printing, absolutely, it's a booming industry. So depending on the complexity of the product, many of these parts are printed using 3D technology for prototyping purposes by the manufacturers every day. There's a trend in the future you're going to see in big retail. I can't mention the biggest retail in the world, but you know what I mean. They're going to have these 3D printing machines in their stores so that when you walk in there and want to have a picture of your favourite dog, your grandchild, whatever, printed and put on top of a Christmas cake or a birthday cake, so it looks real, you're going to get that as well. So yeah, 3D printing's coming on big time.
Hi, my name's Dennis. I work with the National Medical Licensing Bureau. I'm wondering the 3D aspects of the visualization that you guys have. Is there any ideas about applying this in the medical field as far as teaching surgeons how to do surgeries, how to set bones, how to learn anatomy, so on and so forth?
That's another great question, and I avoided presenting that today. The whole life sciences industry is game for technology. It's, don't take this wrong, from what we've seen, a bit antiquated in some of its processes, very risk averse. There's a big movement right now to go digital. We've created, and I can show it to you later, Dennis, if you wish, we've created the living heart, it's called. So we've taken multiple hearts, scanned them, created them, simulated them so they actually beat just like a regular heart would do. You can actually navigate inside the heart in these big immersive caves that I referenced earlier on and go through all the valves and see what's going on. It's quite scary. Maybe it wouldn't scare you, but it scared me. And then this is used then so that surgeons can detect in advance where the problems are. When they order the valves for a heart bypass, they're ordering the right size valves as opposed to receiving, I think it's a packet of 12. They'll use 2 and throw the others away. That's $20,000 out the window. So there's all sorts of movements now in that medical space, and the one that interests me the most is based on some recent experiences I had. was when the nurse comes in and looks through the window and says, "Oh, Stephen's asleep, his heartbeat's okay, can't read the screen," and goes, and I die. So the displays haven't been designed to be legible and readable at a certain distance, or through cultural variation of different nationalities. So there's a big movement right now to get your user interface visible, clear, transparent, and understandable, and also remote control. So there's a lot of movement in that whole space. We can take it offline if you wish.
Hi, my name is Chuck. I'm a designer with Annex Group over here.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I have a question about the UI interfaces that you guys have designed. I guess I'm missing the context just a little bit. A lot of what you're representing on the screen looks like user experience that's with 3D graphics being run natively on the graphics card itself. My question to you is it rendering it on the graphics card with a 3D engine, or are you pre-rendering it and displaying the graphics?
A combination of both, but if you could pass Chuck that microphone to this young man behind you, because he's the expert over here, aren't you, Parker?
Well, so
you are now.
I guess I am for the moment. So the former name of the company was RTT, so real-time technology. So the software that was created in many of these cases is called DeltaGen. So it's rendering at 30 frames per second. So think of it like a video game. You know, you can make it, you can only make it so photorealistic, and the models can only be so heavy. And all the same holds true for any new augmented reality application on your phone or your tablet. Like, you know, these devices can only process so much. You know, the only time you move to an area where you need to render it offline, and then you know, like that movie right there, that was rendered offline because it's of a very high visual quality, and each one of those frames in a 30 frame per second movie takes, I don't know, 5 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. You know, and the same is true for big motion picture movies. You know, like when there's a lot of 3D animations, that can take them 6 months just to render out 5 minutes of footage.
Not to mention compositing and...
Yeah, so there's a lot of steps. So in all the real-time applications you see, we're doing it at the highest quality we can get, but trying to make sure we keep it real-time. So it's rendering every frame right on demand.
Yes, Pat. I started my engineering career with a slide rule, then we moved to digital. And in the 70s, the dome of the Hartford Civic Center collapsed. It was digitally designed. Can you comment on things like the Vega head gasket, the Challenger Discovery, and how the systems that you're working with permit individual designers to lock in a design aspect that cannot be changed unless they personally interact with a proposed change?
No. To answer you honestly, I can't, because I don't know the answer to that one. What I can tell you is when we went from the manual drawing board to computer-aided design, obviously it gave me as a designer, or an engineer actually, not a designer, an engineer, a lot of opportunity to create multiple versions very quickly. I could save those, they never get lost. I can go ahead and we'll find the one that everyone deemed to be the perfect product, if you like. It'd be tested and validated. If it was wrong or not perfect, we could go back to the earlier ones we had. That I could do at a flick of a switch very easily. It wasn't lost. Whereas in the old world of drawing, once you'd created your drawing and rubbed it out and redressed it, it's gone forever, unless you have to take a blueprint, and those blueprints get lost over time. But the latter part of your question I didn't understand, so I can't answer it.
Well, the Vega was a great car, and the bean counter substituted a head gasket, saving 15 cents per car. The head gasket failed, and the whole Vega
now I get your question. Sorry, now I get your question. Yeah. Yes, so that's called failure mode analysis. So if that one product in the chain, that weak link in the chain fails, and the entire product is a flop, that happens every day of the week with products around the world. The whole purpose of that is to visualize the manufacturing process, the weak link, visualize it thousands and thousands of times, create up to 2,000 builds of that product virtually to find out 1 in 2,000 may fail. Where does it fail? They'll go back and they'll assess it and rectify it. So yes, sorry, I misunderstood your question. That happens all the time.
Hi, my name is Mike, NAI Capital Commercial Real Estate. 2 questions. What exactly was RTT doing that DS felt they couldn't do it themselves, they needed to buy you? And second, how are you doing now that you personally have been absorbed into this giant conglomerate?
Can you rephrase that? I didn't get that one. Say that again, please.
Okay.
Maybe I'm slow today.
RTT was doing something, and DS felt they needed to buy the company.
Yeah.
What exactly was RTT doing that?
All right, here's a really simple answer to that question. I've got it. Dassault Systèmes, big French company, is an engineering company by trade and has been for years. So if you ask anyone in the world that understands who they are, they're a hardcore engineering company with hardcore engineering software. RTT was simply the icing on the hardware engineering software cake. So the RTT component took those CAD files from Dassault Systèmes, from CATIA, embedded them into our software and created the wonderful pictures you saw here just a second ago. So we became the icing on the cake in the world of Dassault. Dassault was so impressed with what they saw that they took us, and with that being me, out of the equation and said, right, go into other industries, the other 11 industries we've identified, and help portray that message. How can we make medical devices, to Dennis's point, look stunning before they get produced? So we're the Hollywood portion, if you like, of the mix, if that answers your question.
One last question.
Yes.
Christy Wareham with Cyclical Web Development. And so I was actually intrigued by Parker's comment that the shoe company, New Balance, was manufacturing shoes here. And are you seeing manufacturing moving domestically more, or are there projections showing that we're moving manufacturing because of the kind of work you're doing? I mean, New Balance has an advantage by producing its product here.
Maybe Parker can answer that as well, but I can give you my 50 cents worth. Lots of American companies are talking about bringing production back to the United States, many of them. It could be currency fluctuations that may be disadvantageous, that goes in cycles. It could be that we've got better quality than we've ever had before. It could be antitrust regulations. But products that have a high level of variability or customizability are almost impossible to control from China. So if you created your New Balance pair of shoes in New York and said, I want that one, and that bill of materials goes off to China, it might be 3 months before that shoe comes back, and it'll probably be the wrong size. So things that are created with a high degree of personalization, vehicles, for example. I even read that Aston Martin, believe it or not, are thinking about opening a factory here in the States, because every Aston Martin an American buys new, not second new, is configured to his or her tastes. And it's cheaper to do that and build it here than it is to send the order to the UK, get it back, by which time the dollar's changed against the pound. So yes, in certain industries, to answer your question.
Thank you.
Comes Mike with the mic.
Yeah, one last question. So thank you so much for your presentation and all the knowledge you've given us. We've got a room full of innovators here in Pasadena. Is there something that us as a group or individually can do to help you and what you're doing with your company?
Well, good question. I hadn't considered that, but I would encourage those of you that are interested in what you saw today in terms of product design and design to market, to perhaps connect maybe with my ex-colleagues at 3D Excite, as they're now called. They're based just over here on the lake. It's a beautiful office. In fact, if you grab Parker, he might be able to organise it for you. He's coincidentally here. That might be interesting for those that are in that product design space. Pop around, say hello, see what they're doing. See something live. I'm showing videos, but this live actually is even more impactful than what I just presented. That could be one area.
Great, thank you. And the last part of our presentation is I want to get a picture of you with these beautiful people here. So if you want to stand in front of these empty chairs.
Hey, where's my professional photographer gone?
Yeah, Justin. Come on up here, Justin.
He's my tech guy for today. So Justin hasn't skived off school, to use an English term. Justin came back from Washington, D.C. yesterday, so he had the day free.
Okay. So stand here. Facing us. We want to get these people in the background. Okay, everybody look good in the background. Your marks, get set, go. There's no photobombing. Okay, let's get some excitement.